It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life, from the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators, the famous and not so famous, the controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here's Douglas Coleman.
Okay, please welcome back to the Douglas Coleman Show, Scott Hamm Duenas. Hey, Scott, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing today, man? Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, my pleasure. I remember we had a very nice conversation the last time you were on. Actually, I forgot when it was, but you were promoting Rebroken. When did that come out?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to guess that it's virtually almost the exact same time, coincidentally, last year. Rebroken just hit its 1-year anniversary of its release. So it was right around now. So it's almost exactly a calendar year. So it's funny how that worked out. Just made me think of that. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's been exactly a year.
Well, I remember we talked quite a bit about the film, and we were having a little bit of fun trying to talk around the plot because there's such a spoiler, if you will, a twist on that movie. And,
yes,
I just remember we sort of walking around in circles, but I remember we spoke about the creepy record player and just some strange things. But I remember I really enjoyed that film. And
well, thank you. Yes, I remember too. Yeah, it was one of those ones that's hard. You want to promote it and tell everybody about it, but you're like, but there's so much you can't say, so it doesn't ruin the movie for people. I appreciate it. I really like it too, and I'm proud of it. It's gotten really good reviews and good feedback over the years so far. So it's still a brand new movie if anybody wants to catch it, and it's on all the streaming services and everywhere out there. Called Rebroken with the great Tobin Bell. And yeah, Douglas, I appreciate you bringing it up because it's one that I'm really proud of.
You were also the writer on that one, right?
I was, yes, me and I was a co-writer on that.
Co-writer, okay.
There was two of us. Yeah, it was kind of my story, and I wrote it. It was really like an episode of Twilight Zone. It was like about 45 pages. And I loved it, and then kicked it over to a friend of mine who's a real, I call myself still a writer in progress, and he's a real writer, and we worked really hard to get it into a feature film-length script and had to add some things that he was Kip Tribble, and he was wonderful about it. So, yeah, I'm a co-writer on it. I think I have officially the story by credit, and he's got the writing credit on it, but it's one that I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and couldn't be happier that Tobin Bell was a part of it.
So your new film is called Final Wager, and I watched that one as well, although I watched it right when we got your request to be a guest. So it's been over a month that I watched it, but I still remember it. You've got Tom Arnold in that one. I was surprised to see him make an appearance in that. And who else? Who else is in the film? Tom Arnold has a role in it. I would say it was like a walk-on, like a cameo for him, which was great. We loved having him. But then one of the stars is Michael Madsen is in the film. And if people don't know the name, they would definitely know the face. Michael Madsen's been in a ton of really, really big films over the years, a lot of Quentin Tarantino stuff. He was Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs. He was in both the Kill Bill movies. He was in Donnie Brasco. He played Sonny Red. He was, in Thelma and Louise and The Natural. He was Bump Bailey. He's been in, Michael's a fixture. I consider him an icon in the business. So I was so excited that he came on to be a part of it. So before we get into this, before we dig into it, there isn't a particular spoiler in this one, not like the other one, right?
There's only one, and it has to do with Michael Madsen. He's really the only spoiler because
okay. I know what you're talking about. He's not.
Yeah, so he's it. Other than that, it's a pretty more of a pretty straightforward movie. But he's definitely a big part of the one twist at the end.
Okay. Well, we won't talk about that one. But basically,
thank you.
Basically, the idea is this guy
Chance, who you play, is, would you call him a degenerate gambler?
That word is so, I mean, they go hand in hand, poor gamblers. And I've delved into it too. You're out in Vegas, so I'm sure you know more all about these things. It's, I guess I would think it would depend on who's looking at them. If you're a person that doesn't gamble at all, if you're a person that would never dream of betting a lot of money or betting for, as a way to pay your rent or something, then he's absolutely a degenerate. So I think there's a lot of ways to look at him. I would say where we start with Chance in the story especially is he's a recovering degenerate gambler, where he's quit and he's made a promise to his girlfriend, his very serious girlfriend, and his family, and that he will no longer gamble again. And he's going to Gambler Anonymous meetings to keep himself off that beaten path. Because the girl he's dating too, her dad was a degenerate gambler or a gambler as well. So it's not a good mix. She doesn't want that in her life anymore. So he's trying to do everything to keep it out of his life.
Well, I guess addiction might be the word we use too, because for Alcoholics Anonymous, and then there's Gamblers Anonymous, an addicted gambler, one that just simply can't stop, even though he's, lost everything he's got. I mean, I wouldn't call, like, for example, gamblers generally, I wouldn't call one of these, multi-billionaire type private jet type guys that come and drop a couple million on a Pai Gow table and then go home to their other billions of dollars. I wouldn't call them a degenerate. I think the trick is you're only a degenerate if you can't afford to lose what you're gambling.
Correct. If you're starting to take that, that's so true. Because I have one of my best friends is a professional gambler, and he's got incredible money management. Incredible, and you have to have that because he's got money set aside that he uses only for making his money. That's the way he makes his money. So he's not going to go and risk it because he's having a bad day and get off of his plan. And he never does. He never wavers. So he's definitely not a degenerate. He's made a very nice life for himself doing it. It takes tremendous discipline, though. Discipline that I don't have. But he's very, very good with it. And another thing that when you were talking made me think of it, too, is like, when I say it depends on how you look at it, it made me think of the movie Rounders. Like, would you say that Matt Damon was a degenerate gambler? Because, I mean, although he was in law school and he had this bright future ahead of him, he had quit, and then he starts in again, and then at the end he ends up not becoming a lawyer and he loses his girlfriend, but he wins a bunch of money and he goes off to play in the World Series of Poker. So it's weird. Do you look at a guy like that as a degenerate or not? So it's that's kind of the same way Chance, my character Chance in Final Wager is do you look at him as a degenerate because of what he's doing or not? And I'd say I'd be willing to listen to the argument either way. I think both can be true. Again, without giving away anything,
at the end when it's the final wager, one could argue that was a make or break deal, and assuming that he finished at that point, then he probably got out well. I mean, there's these YouTube videos. I don't know if you've seen them, but there's two different ones, and they're all slot machines. And it's the people, they just go into the casinos and they basically record. You get to watch them playing slot machines. And a lot of them are fake in the sense that they're set up like they work for the casino. The casino just gives them credit to play on these things to show how much you could win, to try to lure people in, which I think is kind of sleazy myself, because it's not their real money. Who cares? This guy, he's got $10,000 worth of credit from the casino. If he loses it, it's no sweat off his back. And then he gets a % of the winnings and all this stuff. Okay. But then there's these other ones that are, as far as I can tell, just real people with their own money. And there's one guy who actually posts everything on. He doesn't even speak. It's like a silent movie. All you hear are the wheels of the slot machines going. And he posts on the top, okay, today I lost $4,000. Tomorrow I made $8,000. The next day, blah, blah, blah. And he runs a total so you can see. I mean, sometimes he walks away as a loser, but he knows when to walk away. You know, it's like that old Kenny Rogers song, know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, right? And he seems to be making a living at this, or at least, he's making some good money. I mean, if that's all he does is for a job, I don't know. He doesn't really even show his face. But, it can be done. But, again, it really goes back to if you can afford to lose it. Like, he'll go into the casino with $5,000. And if he walks out with $0, that's it. He's done. He's not going to put up his house and his car and his wife and his kids or whatever. So
no, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it right there.
It.
Just like I was saying about my friend that does it. That's exactly him too. He has bad days and he has good days, but he sticks to his budget and he sticks to his number. He knows when he's lost that number, when he's having a bad day. That's it. That's it. And see, I'm the total opposite. I would be sitting there at the end of the day going, I lost $2,000 a day. I don't care. I got to find a way to win it back today, tonight. Let's keep going because I have to win it back. And then he'll always be the one that says, you know what, there's going to be games tomorrow. The slot machine will be here tomorrow. This poker table will be here tomorrow. It's not happening today. We went over our budget today. That's it. Move on. Let's call it. So see, he's very sensible with that. And I just don't have that gene. I get so upset when I lose. I want my money back right now. I want it in my pocket. And it sounds like this guy's the same. Like, hey, today I lost $4,000. And that's what I said I could lose, and that's it. And then, maybe on Thursday I'm going to win $8,000, and then this won't matter anymore. So, I think that's the key: money management.
So this film, you starred in it and produced it. I don't see a writing credit on here, so you didn't write this one.
I did not write this one. No, I just acted in it, and yes, and was one of the producers on it. An old friend of mine who I met a long time ago, who was a screenwriter, or came to LA to be a screenwriter. That's kind of how we met. What are you trying to do? Oh, I'm trying to be a screenwriter. What are you trying to do? I'm trying to be an actor. And we became really good friends over the years. And he's, optioned a couple scripts, and then he saw that I had produced Rebroken and another movie called The Stay, and he goes, "Man, I have been wanting to do this movie." And he's like, I kind of got the idea from being around. Some of our own gambling adventures and things like that. And this character is just, I think of you when I'm writing. I'm just thinking of you and our trips to Vegas and stuff like that. I'm like, no, let me see it. And I read it and I thought it was fantastic. And I said, I really, really like this script. And let me see if I can talk to some of the other people that I've, produced with before, or that have invested in our movies before, and see if we can get a budget to get this one made. And we were able to do it. Everyone really liked the script. So thank you to Mr. Jerry Artukovich. And he wrote it, and it's a fantastic script. So, and there was my producing in it too, is the logistics part, going and finding the guys that are willing to put up some money for this, and then putting a team together, and then we were off to the races, man. So I really enjoyed this film, and I'm so glad we were able to get it made. But no, I did not write this one. This was all Jerry, and he's a terrific writer. He's still plugging away, and I know he's going to do well because he's got the gift.
The one thing I do want to say about the two films that you've been in, I know we talked a bit about budget on the first one, but I'm guessing that Final Wager wasn't, $10 or $20 million to make, right?
No,
okay.
Not at all. Yes. It kind of the formula of it that I've adopted, at least the ones that I have produced, even when I talked to Jerry, the writer, about it, I think the original script had a lot more locations and things like that. I'm like, what really keeps the cost down in these things, I'm not trying to change the script in any way, but we need to contain the location so there's not a lot of moves, which saves a ton of money, and a little bit smaller cast, so you don't have to hire, tremendous amount of extras or cast and things like that. So you start knocking costs down that way without affecting the integrity of the script and the movie, and that's kind of the system I've been using. And then also because we don't have a big, obviously we're doing it independently right now, any studio backing to help us with those gigantic marketing budgets that they have. So you got to keep the costs down to hopefully make it easier to become profitable. And then so you can, which is great. I know it's all about the art and the film, but it's also nice for the people that invested in your movies to see a return and to hopefully make some money in the end. And so that's kind of the goal when we set out. So 10 to 12 million is out of our league. And even if we raise that, I would be so tremendously nervous on finding a way to make that back for everybody. That I'm not ready for that yet. But hopefully one day I would love to have some bigger budgets, to have a little more breathing room and more time and more resources. But I like these independent movies. There's something fun and charming about making them, and they move much faster than, I've been on big budget movies as just an actor, and it's a much slower process and a longer, huge undertaking. And so there's something to be said. But yes, no, we are a much smaller movie. I mean, we had enough to hire a nice crew, and we were able to get the two name actors, like you said, Michael Madsen and Tom Arnold. Their checks didn't bounce. So that was good. And we're plugging away. We're getting a little bigger each time. This was a little bigger budget than we had on Rebroken. And then we just wrapped another one this last January, and we had a little bit bigger budget on that one. So we're kind of baby steps. Hopefully I talk to you in 10 years and we're making $12 million movies.
Well, what I was going to say was that although you don't have that kind of a budget, both of your films, I never felt like I didn't watch them and go, oh, this is a low budget, this is indie. It didn't feel that way. It was so well done that it could have been 12 million. I don't know. You could have just paid your actors really well. But I don't think the point or the movies themselves needed 10 or 12 million dollars to tell this story. I think you did just fine with what you had.
I think, literally, I couldn't think of a better compliment, because being on the producer side, I love to hear you say that, because that is really, we do talk about that when we huddle as a team at the very beginning when we're getting going. And I always say, and everyone agrees, that the main thing, it has to look and sound like you said, like a $12 million movie, or people are just going to change it. There's you know what I mean? In this day and age, they're just going to flip. So we have to first get the correct camera and the correct cinematographer and the sound guy, and really spend the money there just so it looks and sounds like the other movies that are on your competition, the other movies that are on TV. So I appreciate you saying that. I do agree with you. I think our little team has done so well to make it look and sound like a movie that costs much more than it actually did. So I really do. That one means a lot to me, Doug. I appreciate you.
Well, the last thing I want to ask you about, then we can kind of wind this down. You said you were working on another one. You want to give us a taste of what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. This one is it's called Cat Crime: Tales of the Occult. And this one, I would say the most I produce, and I act very little on this one. I just have a little supporting kind of role in it. And it's about, we have 3 young, beautiful, talented female leads that are all tremendous in this film. And it's really, they're true crime podcasters. And they try, their YouTube channel's failing, and then they get involved in one final case. And of course, they end up getting caught in the middle of this whole cult that they go to do a true crime podcast on. And it's currently in post-production right now. It's in the editing process, and everything looks really, really good. We lucky again, we found a cinematographer that from up the Bay Area, AJ Marsden, and he's amazing, and it looks so good. So I'm really excited for this one to come out. We're hoping for early 2025 on it, and it's an all new cast, and for me, I really got to do a lot more behind the camera, which I loved, as opposed in Rebroken and Final Wager. I'm in pretty much every frame of those movies, and this one I got to sit back and really learn a lot and work a lot behind the scenes to learn more about the production side of things, which I'm really interested in and I really like, but I have a lot to learn.
So are you able to make a living with these films, or do you have to do something else on the side?
No, I'm carving out a living. I make, I'm not a rich guy in the Hollywood Hills, but I make just enough to pay my bills. I live paycheck to paycheck, but
Really, the movies are, they take a little time, by the time you invest and finish and then go from there. And I have back end on them and all that kind of stuff. So that's where I make it. But also, I'm also an actor, and I have an agent and a manager, and I grind out, if I can snag some TV parts here and there throughout the year, that pays the bills, along with when the checks come from the movies, and it's a collaboration on all those. And then, they hire me just enough to keep me around. I like to say they hire me just enough to keep me from not being able to get a 9-to-5 or a side gig. So I love it. I'm getting to do what I love to do. I mean, just for instance, like last year, I think before the strike, I did a couple episodes of Bold and the Beautiful, and I did an episode of the Hulu show Welcome to the Chippendales, and just little, just picking off little guest starring gigs or co-starring gigs on TV and soaps and things like that, here and there. That those pay the bills. Those really, the TV stuff really pays the bills for me, and then I get to take that money and make the house payment, and then also start putting some aside to invest in my production company and to make a movie every couple of years, and here we are. So. It's working out. So far, so good.
You said Welcome to the Chippendales. Would you play a Chippendale dancer?
I did not play Chippendale dancer, actually. What I played was what I really liked, and unfortunately, too, it didn't make it into the episode, which bummed me out. You still get paid, you still get the credit, and you still get all that stuff. But I played a young Geraldo Rivera from like the 80s when he had his talk show. So I had the mustache and the hair and the 70s, 80s jacket, and I got to play him when the Chippendales were first starting out, and he was welcoming him on to, he had his show Geraldo Live at the time, and that's what I got to play, which was pretty awesome. Yeah, I think the Chippendales for me. I'm not 20 anymore, so I'm still in pretty good shape. But I'm not. I thought that it was really fun to get to play a real person. So I'll hopefully get to do it again. Or I'm hoping that maybe I can somehow snag some footage from that or something.
Well, I remember that show. I mean, I'm old enough to remember Geraldo's show, and I pretty much have followed his whole career since I was a teenager. So he's. He
looks great, doesn't he?
Oh, he looks fantastic.
I just saw him the other day.
Yeah, he looks
He's
great.
What, 80 years old now or something?
At least.
50.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, he looks amazing.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Well, we got to wind this down. The movie is called Final Wager. It's been released?
Today is the day, actually. Today is the day. It released today. You can find it today. We're exclusively Vudu, which is owned by NBC, and Fandango, so it's like the Vudu Fandango at home app. You just go on any smart TV, download the app for free, and type in Final Wager, and there we are. They took us exclusively for the first 30 days as one of their featured films. And then if you have satellite or cable, we're on either of those two. You just type in Final Wager, and you'll find us. And after the Vudu app is done with us, we'll probably be everywhere on the streaming services as well. But right now we belong to them exclusively, which we're super excited about and super grateful to have them pick us up for exclusive May release. They wanted to make sure nobody else got us, just them. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. And it stars myself, Michael Madsen, Tom Arnold, Fernando Romero, Trevor Pennick from the band O-Town, if anybody remembers. He's an actor now. He's fantastic in it. So check it out. Please check it out. Final Wager.
All right, Scott. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Always nice talking to you. And keep us in mind when the new one comes out. Love to have you back.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me back, and I appreciate you for taking time to watch the movie and some of the kind words that you said about it too, Douglas. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.